Are we back? That should be better. Are we better? That looks better. Hey, Sean. Mark, better. Okay. So, Mark, what do you think? Um, uh, if you don't want me to touch the porting, that's fine. I think I'll clean up the head, clean up the piston, clean up the carbon. If I was to change the porting, I would flatten the intake a little bit. But if you like the way that it ran, I don't have to touch anything there. You know. So yeah, clean up the piston. Uh, I don't need a base gasket here because this is a base gasket delete, so I'll need to clean that up a little bit. Um, and yeah, new intake. I got to check and see what's going on with the actual uh, the vent. Got to see what's going on there. Yeah, let me stick this in the ultrasonic. You know, we'll do that. Um, pull the piston off. I'll stick that in the ultrasonic too. The carburetor, I think I put an EL42 on here, which is an OEM carb. I'm getting a couple of them, so I have a couple of them on the way supposedly from Jack Small Engines, but Lord knows how long that's going to take to get. You know, throw a bunch of stuff at it. Save the carburetor there, of course, but might be easiest just to throw some new stuff at it. See how she runs. Okay. Let's pull the tank off because I want to see what's going on there. So we're going to do that. I mean, it looks like a pretty solid saw. It looks like it was thoughtfully built. I don't, no complaints there. Most guys just slap stuff together. This looks like there was some thought put into it. So basically, where you were at here, you had no tank vent because this fell out, which is not uncommon, by the way. So, not too loose. Just needs a cleanup. How's this looking? Fuel line looks fine. Supple, fine. You know. Might leave that, just fix the tank vent issue, you know. I wonder. Take this, take your mini vac here. Where's my mini vac? Good, it's buried. Hang on. Take the old mini vac here. And now that I've got some brake cleaner in here, basically force the brake cleaner through and clean out the tank vent. Bubbles. See? Throw a new fuel on? Alright. Well, I can, I can order whatever you like. Now the question is, will this pull a vacuum? Which it should. Yep, so it'll pull a vacuum. So the tank vent works. You can certainly leave that. Alright. But you want a new fuel line. Okay. So basically at this point, I just need to go get this stuff cleaned up, which will take me a bit. I'd say, let me get this cleaned up. We'll play this weekend on getting it back together. What parts do I not have? I don't have a new carburetor. So this may or may not run right if we just throw it back with that carburetor. Don't know how much of an issue the tank vent was, but overall, I'd say leave the whole bottom end just like it is. It looks like it was built carefully. I don't think I'd probably touch the seals yet, Go run it for another 5-10 years, and then you can go in there and do the seals. What do you think, Mark? Talk to me. What are the AV mounts like on the 440? Yeah, the big one on the 660, the upper PTO side, the top one really went to crap pretty quick. On my 660, the 440, again, I haven't run this much, so I don't really know. I'm gonna wait and see what the feedback was. Overall, I just fixed kind of the choke was hard to set, so I fixed that. I put a little piece of fuel line actually on the choke lever on the carburetor, and that made it a whole lot easier to set. So what else? I think that's about that for the night. I mean, Mark, I'm definitely encouraged here. There's just not tons for me to do, which makes this very straightforward build, at least in my opinion. But I do got to get this all cleaned up, so I don't need to do that on camera. What else do I need to do? I need a root beer. I'm gonna go put this in the sink. Let me get a root beer. I'll hang out with you guys for a second. Put this in the ultrasonic. You know what? I might as well undo this stuff. That goes in the ultrasonic too. Just need to pop the choke lever off here. Pop. Done. And we'll keep the carburetor here for sure. It's a 199. So but I think the fastest way home there is to put a new carburetor on. The rubber here looks fine. No issues there. Off the ultrasonic here. Okay. Yeah, so question and answer time. The carburetor, so the original ones I think were Walbro HDA 199s. And then Walbro changed them up like to 175s and 198s and 191s. I think the current one is 191 in Walbro, but Zama's equivalent would be an EL 42, not the 32, the 42. Bigger Venturi on the 42. The 350s came with EL 32s stock, but there's really no point in putting an EL 32 on anything when you have the EL 42 available. The Hustle 372 parts kit, swap the bearings and crank. Yep, piston pin bearing as well, for sure on that. And then you could swap out whatever else you want. If the carburetor works, great. If not, you got to grab an HD12B, and those are becoming scarce. What was the symptoms? On the 359 here, it wasn't running right. That was what Mark said, so I'll take Mark at his word that it wasn't running right. Whatever that means. Stupid rule, yeah. How this all looks. I mean, it looks beautiful. Really looks nice, clean. Some residual stuff from Loctite. The Loctite 518 turns into this crusty stuff, though. sure it would harm anything, but. Somehow my Kleenex has disappeared. There was a box here. Okay, I got Kleenexes. Hit this with a brake cleaner. You get the base pretty clean. Trade me is like eBay canceling no chain break, yeah. As a general policy, I don't even work on saws with no chain brake, you know? I just try to, there's not much point. If you're a vintage saw collector, great, but for the stuff I work on, there's really not much point in not having a chain brake. Some of the crusties here. Don't know if they'd really affect anything if they fell down in, but also nice to make sure that this notch here is clear, because that's where the impulse comes from, essentially, not the line, but that's the impulse slot, effectively. Probably need to hit this at with a wire wheel too. That'd be a good idea. Here we go. Still some crusties on here. I wonder what would be best to get that off. How about a super scraper? Different wire wheel. Super scraper's good, but better if I use this wire wheel maybe. Instead of the other one. Where did that go? Effectively a flat wire wheel rather than a cup wire wheel. Much better. Check that out. Much cleaner. Yeah, just like for prepping a crown. More suction, please. Just like it. Only different. Without any of the excitement, you know? Chase the threads. Good. This is just a regular M5, I think by 0.8 tap. That's what the head bolts are. So a nice and clean surface. I'll clean up the cylinder also, so that's nice and clean. And then brake clean all of it, of course. Actually cutting in a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. Nice, last one. Cool. So, that'll be ready to go. Very nice. Take care, Sean. Explain the impulse more. Okay, sure. Well, so in order to basically drive the fuel pump, you need an impulse line or channel. In this case, it's a channel. There's a notch right here that, well, here's a 346 head, but the notch corresponds right here. And that hole comes out here. And then that goes to a line that goes to the carburetor that basically drives the pump diaphragm. So you have a pressure and vacuum and pressure and vacuum and pressure and vacuum as the piston is going up and down. Boom, 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 boom. And that's going to drive your fuel. That's how I understand it anyway. Does that make sense, Bob? What else do I need to do on this? There's really not much. That's the beauty of it. I'd probably, I'm gonna leave the seals and the bearings alone. Leave that bottom end alone, which is not what I normally do. But on a saw like this, I just don't see the point in changing that out, especially since the piston was in such nice shape. I really doubt it has an issue with the seals of the bearings. Right? Yeah, you can't cover. You don't want to cover the hole. That is a no no. You can have no fuel flow then, basically. Yeah, if you get too much goop in there or whatever, if you're doing a gasket delete and you put too much goop in there, it gets covered. Questions, comments, anything else? I'm out of root beer, so it's about time to go. Running on ethanol 41. Yep, me too. Lately, I've been running a lot of True Fuel lately, just out of convenience. I mix my own stuff too. I run the non-ethanol stuff and mix it somewhere around 32, 40 to 1, somewhere around there. Other questions, comments, anything, guys? All right. So if nothing else, I'll say thank you guys for watching. Do appreciate it. We will definitely get this thing back together. I'd aim for the weekend, but again, I don't know as far as carburetor goes whether I'm going to have the carburetor by then or not. Jack Small Engines has not shipped out yet. I could put it back together with the 199 and see what happens, but nice to throw a fresh new carburetor on there. Gotta pull the cylinders on two small sides. Yeah, yeah. It can be an issue, Bob. If you're not careful, you have to check the line. But also you have to check where the impulse comes from. So on the 346s and 359s, it's there, but on some others it comes right out of the cylinder head itself. Um, so they're like on a 372, for instance. It actually there's a brass nipple that goes down into the crankcase, and then there's an actual line that travels to the carburetor. So a rubber hose. So there's lots of different ways of impulses. On a lot of the steels, they actually have a nipple coming out of the crankcase itself that goes to a rubber line that goes to the carburetor. All right, we'll call it a night. Thanks, guys. Do appreciate it. Mark, thanks for sending me an interesting piece, and we'll have some fun. Okay, we'll talk to you guys later, all right? Take care, guys. Bye.